In part by Logitech G, Pay Safeguard, TheScoreEsports.com, G2A, NVIDIA, and ESEA.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for more action here at Week 4 of the North American ESL Pro League. My name is Blue. Joining me here tonight is Mega Man, and we've got a great first match for you tonight. It's going to be Cloud9 versus OpTic Gaming. Our first match will be on Cash. So, Mega Man, let's talk a little bit about this.
Yeah, absolutely. These two teams, OpTic, they've shown a little bit here in the past couple of weeks, at least in some of the other leagues that they participate in. They had a really good win, great comeback win against Liquid on Train and Civo this past week. And you know, when it comes to Cash, this is one of the maps that they have been pretty solid on in the past. One of the main spots that we've seen before is Stanislaus stepping up big time in the previous iterations of the teams that he's been on. So kind of look to him to have a pretty solid game here. And I think OpTic is at least going to take the first map. The second match is going to be on Cobblestone, which I think is going to be a little bit closer, but I still think OpTic should win tonight 2-0.
The problem, though, is that the first map being Cash is where often pretty much every North American team has their best day. And in the set versus Liquid, if I'm remembering properly, this was actually the map that OpTic did end up losing versus C9. So considering that, there's actually a pretty good chance we could see C9 seal this away, because this is also where we saw some fairly good performances back from C9 at the major qualifiers too. Most notably, the last match they played versus Renegades to actually get them through to the major itself. We saw players like Stewie, along with Nothing, who had actually been slacking quite a bit recently on the team, come alive in that matchup there, and were really what was able to pull the team through to get that qualification spot for the majors. So it might actually be a bit of a tough bid for OpTic, because their performance on this map has been struggling a little bit when you look at that Liquid map that they played just 2 nights ago.
Yeah, and again, like what you said, I mean, it's pretty much Cash seems to be a home map for the North American teams. A lot of teams find a lot of their strength on that. You know, we see it in teams like Splice. They've had a lot of success on Cash. C9, that used to be one of their strongest maps where they could, you know, play with the best of them on there. But lately, even after this roster shuffle on the C9 side, it's hard to really call any map specifically a home map for them that's going to be like their guaranteed go-to. Cash is probably still pretty high up there on their list, but then the second matchup actually that we have tonight is going to be, I feel, probably a little bit more one-sided than this one. I feel like you'll probably agree with me on that. It's going to be Luminosity versus Winter Fox.
I don't know what you're talking about. It's an insanely close matchup.
And it's Overpass and Train.
That one's gonna be 16-14 both maps. I don't know what you're saying, man.
All right. Hey, you know, we did see when Winter Fox was actually Luminosity in their previous roster, they played against Luminosity when they were, I believe it was still Keatstars, and took it into 5 overtimes on Mirage. So they've got a little bit of a history between the two teams, but I just have to give the edge to Luminosity. I just feel like they've got just more raw talent.
Yeah, obviously a much safer bet for Luminosity to be taking that one there. So we'll see how that goes, especially when you consider, too, that Winter Fox did not have their best day last night when they played off against the Renegades. So have not been seeing the best performances from Winter Fox as of late, and I don't imagine that would be something that all of a sudden would change overnight, and that we would see them be able to pull off a performance against the team who just made it to the grand finals of IEM Season 10 against Fnatic. It's by the transitive property, things just don't really seem to work out that well that often. So
yeah,
more than
probably
likely,
not.
Our second set tonight will be pretty straightforward. But we still have this first match, and we're still waiting for things to get started, guys. All 12 players, including the coaches, I do believe, have connected. So we're just waiting for things to get ready up. OpTic doesn't actually have a coach. I think that's just our observer. But we're just waiting for the players to ready up, and then we will actually get started, which I think is happening right now.
Yeah, so we're going to jump right into the knife round for you guys. And again, pretty straightforward on both sides here. You know, you've got Nothing, Stewie 2K, Shroud, Skadoodle, Freakazoid facing off against Naf, Rush, Shazam, Daps, and Stanislaw. And Rush is actually AFK for the knife round. Oh, he's back. Okay. Just playing the Statue of Liberty play. Freakazoid somehow managed to get behind Shazam and knife him right in the backside. So That was an easy one, but again, a little bit of trading back and forth right now. And, you know, how many times have we seen cash or casted cash? And, you know, we see it go both ways a number of different times. You know, heavy CT side wins, and then you also get a heavy terrorist side win. You know, a couple of different scenarios. Cloud9 wins the knife round. What side should you start on? Do you want to dictate the pace, or do you want to play defensive?
More than likely, you're still going to want to start off on the CT side there, unless you're just feeling a need to play aggressively. At which point you would want to just start yourself off on the T side. Those more momentum-based teams as well, to actually explain myself better, do you like to start off on the T side from time to time? Because if they can get the victory off of just rushing one of the sites, getting control of it, and preventing the retake, because a lot of these North American teams are now playing for the retake strats. So if they can stop that from happening by getting control of the A side early and holding it, and then they get that first round victory, then the T side can prove to be better. But it looks like OpTic are going to be starting off on the T side here, and C9 are going to be jumping onto the CT side. So let's get to it, guys, as the first map here of our two best of ones between C9 and OpTic Gaming are going to be getting started right now.
Yeah, so let's get it on. It's going to be pretty straightforward. No upgraded pistols on either side, actually. They don't go for a raid boss buy here, and they actually only pick up a smoke and a Molotov on the OpTic side. A strategy that we see played out a number of different times. You know, smoke the bomb site, try to get in there, and then get the plant on the A bomb site, and then Molotov for after the post plant. So they throw the smoke at B, try to get the rotation, and it actually does pull a rotation back here towards the Z hallway. So they're going to play 2 over in the B bomb site, 1 with the quick rotation who's pushing out to sandbags, and then 2 over in the A bomb site. So we're going to see OpTic try to smash in here, and Stanislaw out mid finds nothing. So a great opening pick here, and no reply at all from Cloud9.
They're just hanging back right now, too. They're going to want to play this very cautiously. They still have the bomb sitting outside of the A-bomb site, but nowhere near committed to it, although they are starting to wrap it through the squeaky tunnel to commit itself in there with Naf. So it would be Naf and Shazam going for the entry. 2 more players have worked their way inside of A-main, so they are going to be executing. So United have actually completely given up control of this site, and Stanislaw has found another kill on a Freakazoid. I believe near Z is where he picked up that one. Now all they have left on this A-bomb site is Stewie2K. He's peeked out from the truck angle. He's pushed pretty far forward. Thankfully, OpTic Gaming themselves are being pretty passive with their setup, but this is not going to be good for Stu. With his aggressive play style, he's going to meet his death pretty quickly there to Naf, just crouching behind the boxes. Easy takedown, and now you're just looking at Shroud and Skadoodle trying to pull off a 2v5 retake with basically 0 intel.
I'm not really sure why Stewie decided to go for that solo dolo like that, but now you can see Naf, he's going to be able to pick up 1. Rush trades it out. The only kill on the board is Naf, and he picked up 2 kills anyway, so nicely done. Probably a pause here, as it does look like we lost Stewie after that. A little bit of a, I don't know. I want to call that a mistake, pushing in by himself like that, not waiting for his teammates for the retake. I mean, it was 3 on 5. The chips were stacked against them, but they had that player flanking up highway on the terrorist side to pinch in. So even if he would have just hung back on truck, they would have had a golden opportunity for maybe a little bit of a retake. So maybe a miscue there on Cloud9's part. Stewie getting a little hyper aggressive unnecessarily, and they end up losing that pistol round. So OpTic's going to have a golden opportunity to pick up a couple of rounds early on in this matchup.
And as is tradition, for me and you casting at least, this doesn't happen when I cast with Moses that much. We're going to have what seems to be a pretty lengthy pause, as there was a bug when Stewie rejoined. He did not get his money. So we might have to medic it to give him back his cash.
You trying to say I'm the common denominator in this farce right now, man?
It always happens when I'm with you. Actually, it happened with Bach the other day too. We were doing the premiere stream, so maybe it is me. But it doesn't happen that much when I'm with Moses. I guess Moses counters the bad luck. But it always happens like right after the pistol round or after like the first 2 rounds. So it's in that awkward phase when you like barely have anything to talk about, because we just talked about all this stuff in the pregame. And you can't really analyze all that much based off of 1 round, so yeah.
True. We're gonna do the best that we can. Hopefully, hopefully it gets fixed quickly.
I don't really think that was a mistake from Stewie, though. I think Stewie, like, keep in mind, it's Stewie. Like, he's infamous for this super aggressive play style and constantly pushing forward and just trying to pull off these plays on his own. I think it was pretty reasonable to assume that there wasn't going to be a player sitting behind that first box there. That was the mistake he made. You could even see he didn't even check the angle when he walked past it. So I don't think he wanted to get that far up, was mainly just moving out to try and scout for intel. But because of the fact that, thankfully, someone from OpTic did put a player behind that box, he was just caught off guard by that and got taken down. That, unfortunately, though, did kill the entire chance at a retake, but I wouldn't necessarily call that, like, it was his fault for pushing out, but it wasn't, like, a huge, like, just mistake on his part.
Yeah, I mean, he was trying to get himself into a forward position on the site, but I mean, they, like you said before, they had zero intel on where any of those players were going to be playing. And with all 5 OpTic players alive, the only position that they even knew about really was Stanislaw and mid. All 4 of the other ones had great post-plant positions. They had Stanislaw and Cat behind the Cat box. They had 1 playing bomb site, 1 playing quad, and 2 playing in A main. So, I mean, trying to get back into that bomb site on that kind of a retake, down 2 players, especially with as much time as kind of ticked away on the bomb and giving them that much time to get into post plants, the only real way to do it is to regroup with your team and try to brute force your way in. Trying to be sneaky like that probably isn't going to pay off too well, and you saw it actually didn't. So a little bit unfortunate there, but still a lot of CS to be played in this match, so I'm sure they'll recover just fine.
So we're still just waiting on that, guys, to get fixed and whatnot, and then we should be able to get back directly into the game. But now we need some stuff to talk about while we're waiting. We can't just be lazy and throw it to a break. It would be uncouth of us. So Mega Man, how's your day been?
Not bad. Did a little streaming earlier. Played some World of Warcraft because I'm a big old nerd. Played a couple of ESCA pugs. Got crapped on. It was a good day.
Cool.
What about you, man? What'd you do?
I didn't do much today. I woke up kind of late. I was kind of scared to set the time. Woke up pretty late. Got some lunch. Hung out for a little bit. And yeah, came in here to cast. That's about it. My days are pretty boring.
Right, you are. So, yeah. Yep. Now nothing left. So
this is the worst part is like you're not even trying to bounce off me, man. You're just leaving me hanging there.
Well, you know, I got a cliffhanger you.
You're making it look super awkward.
Well, you didn't really give me much to go on. Well, you know, I got up and I didn't really do anything. Okay, cool. Yeah. It
was a nice day out, wasn't it? I think you had the same general region as me.
I'm allergic to the sun. I don't go outside.
It was nice. It was like 75 today.
I was playing video games.
Spring is all of a sudden sprouted. So it's been quite a good time.
Yeah, actually, I was able to turn the heat off in my apartment, so it made it really, really nice in here. So I definitely can't be upset about that. Really can't be upset about that. So
but yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, well, we've got tournaments coming up. That's pretty exciting. The MLG Major at the end of this month. That's going to be a good time. Looking forward to that.
Indeed. You're gonna be there, right?
I am. I'm actually anybody who's in chat who's going to be at the major. I'm going to be there. I'm driving out. My aunt and uncle live in Columbus, so I'm going to visit with some family. But I've got my ticket for the LAN, so I'm going to be out there. So if you guys see me, I'll be in my bearded glory at the LAN event. So if you see me, don't be ashamed to come up or shy to come up and say hey to me. And definitely there for the conversing and the hanging out. So hope to see some of you guys at the major. I don't know. Are you going to make the trek over there as well?
Yes, I am currently slated to go there on my own. I have my own stuff booked.
There you go. So Blue and I will both be over at the major, so we'll be hanging out, checking some stuff out. Now Shroud left. Woo!
Yeah. So we're still just waiting on word for what exactly is going on, and then we should be able to jump back into the game. So it looks like there was a little bit of a problem. Sorry. And then things kind of got messed up. So we are in a pause after the first pistol round, which is not a great point to have a pause on, especially considering we don't just want to throw it to a break there. But to talk about this now, I guess with a little bit we can talk about with OpTic getting the start, is that this could actually be dangerous for C9, especially if they don't make an impact on these anti-eco round or these eco rounds that they have coming up here. If they're not able to trade out some kills and let OpTic get their economy off to a good start. And also, more importantly, if OpTic themselves here can dominate the first gun round and try to control C9's economy, C9 have sort of gone back recently to an old caveat they had on this map, to where Skadoodle was incredibly important to their ability to succeed on this map, and oftentimes that hinged on Skadoodle being able to pick up the op. So if OpTic, through picking up these first couple of rounds here, and more importantly, of course, the first gun round, but we have to wait a few rounds before we get to that, then if they can actually stop Skadoodle from picking up the op consistently on that gun round and the following ones after that, then it's going to be much easier, I feel, for OpTic to try and control this first half and have a pretty good scoreline in their favor, at least in the earlier rounds.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the things when we watched the Winterfox matches last night when we were casting those, that we didn't see them do too terribly effective on their anti-eco, on their eco rounds, was do too terribly much damage. And that's one thing that, you know, Cloud9, I mean, one of the most notable kind of forced by eco rounds that they had was on Dust 2 against Fnatic, where Shroud hit those 4 scout shots. So, you know, they've definitely got the tools in place. The aim is on point. And they, you know, in situations like this, we can see them come back and win the eco round and then start to string rounds together on their CT side and really make a bid for a strong CT side at half, especially since they won the knife round and picked this side. So that's kind of the biggest focal point right now that I can make, is that they decided to go onto the CT side. So they're expecting to have a very strong CT. And that's one of the things that we've actually seen out of Cloud9 in recent performances, was that their CT sides were good. Their T sides were just a disaster. So that probably weighs in as to why they decided to go onto the CT side in the first place.
That's going to be a big problem here too. If OpTic does end up controlling the first half, is that if we don't see nothing having the confidence to really try and innovate this team and make sure the T side is as solid as it has been in some of the games we've seen in the past from this team, then they're absolutely going to get ripped to shreds. That's oftentimes the big bully weight for what determines how well C9 can do, is just how confident nothing is feeling. Because if he's off his game, then he's not going to feel confident as a fragger. He's publicly, or as an IGL, he's publicly said that he doesn't feel confident as an IGL when these games start off badly for his team. So unfortunately, if we see OpTic getting off to a good start, then that's going to hurt C9 not just this half, but possibly going into the second half too, which actually could allow OpTic to take control of the first map quite easily.
Yeah, and that's where it really gets scary because, you know, like we said, their T side has just not been so great. So if they go down big in the first half, then you might just write off the first map here and then start looking to train. But I mean, we'll have to see how it pans out. I mean, like I said, a lot of CS left in this one. We're trying to figure out what's going on as far as this match is concerned right now. But we should be getting this one live again soon for y'all. And hopefully we can kick off the night with some CS. Hopefully.
Yeah. Still waiting, though. I think we're going live soon, however.
Yeah, just trying to get word from the producers as to what the happenings on, the goings-ons. So just hopefully we'll get word real quick, and then we'll be able to tell you guys what's going on. So we'll see.
I'm trying to think of something else to talk about. It's hard, man.
So actually,
we don't have to. Woo! Thank God.
Thank God, I don't have to have a real conversation with you, John. Holy crap.
We just ran out now.
I was going to bring up the whole Pop Flash thing because you actually were just on Pop Flash talking about the IAM Katowice tournament that just went down, but we'll save that for a later pause. Because you know me, it's bound to happen.
All right, well, we're going back into things now. It's going to be a fairly light round from C9. Just the P250 investment. They're not really going to be bringing a whole lot to the table this time in terms of a force up. And OpTic going for 3 rifles right off the bat. So 3 rifle, 2 SMG split. Pretty normal buy. And of course, they'll play it passively at the beginning of the round just to make sure that C9 aren't doing anything aggressive towards middle or pushing into A main.
Yeah, and the big thing right now is they've got those 2 SMGs. Rush boosted up on top of the boxes here in mid, looking for a little bit of contact here as well. They do have a flashbang if they want to throw it out off a cat box and try to go for the peek here in mid. You can see 3 of them grouped up here on highway. Molly goes out to sandbags. Nobody's home there, so they're just going to be playing a counter flash strategy, and they're going to let Daps run out front, along with Stanislaw, to let those SMGs do some work. And Skadoon gets shredded. Rush chimes in, finds the double. Stanislaw is there, and this mid presence just gets completely annihilated. Another ump kill. Why not?
And there you have it. OpTic gonna go up 2-0. C9 not able to impact there on any frags, which is what is important. This is what we were talking about during the pause, that they need to try and prevent OpTic from stacking up money by keeping all 5 of these players alive through the ecos. And without any kills, C9 aren't really gonna have anything to show for that. So that'll get a bit dangerous, especially if they're not able to find anything here. This is gonna be an even smaller buy now when you take a look at it. Much lessened stack of upgraded pistols this time. I think they've only got 3 P250s, and you're still gonna be looking at Stewie and Scott just using USPs.
Yeah, I mean, Skadoodle wants to make sure that he gets the op. I mean, that's the biggest thing. They're going to push into A main now. We're going to be able to check this out. Rush is there. They're kind of bumping into each other, but Rush takes the worst of that one. He's down to 5 HP. Spam comes around from the squeaky side and actually does a little bit of damage there to Freakazoid. and Stewie is down at 78. He actually comes back around and goes towards the squeaky door. So they're playing this interesting setup here at squeaky. They've got nothing on the left-hand side. Stewie was on the right-hand side, decides to fall back and close the squeaky door, and it looks like they're going to opt to go back towards that B-bomb site where only Shroud is playing. He's got Daps right in front of him, and he can't connect the shot. So B-bomb site now open. Stewie is on the rotation, but he's going to get there a little bit late. They're not actually going to push in. 2 players, actually 3 players on OpTic are extremely low.
And OpTic obviously a little bit scared now because of just how low some of these players are. Unfortunately, this timidness has given C9 the time to actually rotate successfully into this B-bomb site, so they can go in and maybe try to pick off a couple of these guys with just one taps here. Rush specifically carrying the bomb in. Thankfully for him, nobody from C9 did decide to peek. They're all just camping outside of the bomb site right now. They will be moving in a moment. They're trying to get a good setup going, and nothing... He's trying to sneak himself around to get himself in a position inside of the vents, so they won't just have a single angle to push this from, but actually not able to find anything. And it doesn't look like they're going to go into the site, despite how low some of these players are. They must not be aware of what's happening. Stewie goes down. Skadoodle trying to pick off one of them. He succeeds. He finds Rush there. They're a very small angle, but Naf trades it out. Freak picking off another one, so it's down to a 2 versus 3, but Stanislaw moving out is able to take down Skadoodle, and now you're just left with Freakazoid outside middle.
Yeah, but he's got an opportunity to get at least one more kill here. And unfortunately, the aim punch is going to be his demise. Daps picks that up. 3 players survive that. They do salvage the 3 AKs out of that round as well. So going into the first gun round, they're going to have plenty of money to buy out. And Shazam should be on the AWP. Skadoodle picks up his own. And he does have body armor as well. So we're going to get our first glimpse at an up-on-up battle. And this is interesting enough. 3 kills across the board for everybody on OpTic Gaming. 6 for Stanislaw and nothing for Shazam as of yet. He actually hasn't gotten an assist or died yet.
Now OpTic starting to push themselves inside of A main here. Getting ready to go for a pretty direct takeover towards the A bomb site, but they're going to take their time with it. And of course, still keeping Stanislaw over here in the B halls to try and make his push, or actually just to sit here and defend in case the guys from C9 decide to push out from the B bomb site. Not going to be happening though. And again, just weighing down the time a little bit here now as the smokes and whatnot start to get tossed out. Freakazoid still holding his angle here as he goes for the re-smoke, I should correct myself to say. Back there towards middle to prevent them from pushing out towards garage. Doesn't really look like there's going to be a whole lot of action happening towards middle, but with OpTic playing the slow strat, they could easily change something up here if they're given the correct intel to insinuate they would need to go for some mid pressure.
This is actually interesting. Cloud9 usually Shroud plays that A bomb site. Now he's overplaying on B. Nothing's going to get mollied out of the vents. He's going to have to fall back, and luckily for him, well, his teammate does pop flash. It does blind him, but there's nobody over there in Toxic. And that's one of the things that we've kind of made a point on before. Skadoodle, though, opens up, takes down Stanislaw. And what the point that I was going to make is, a lot of times you'll see that molly get thrown to flush out a player in vent so they can take mid control. But sometimes you'll see, and this is something that a lot of teams could learn from, is when you've got an AWP and there's no smokes covering anything, that molly's usually going to push that player out of vents. And if you have an alt posted on it, you can usually find that kill as he falls back, and that's pretty much a freebie. But now we see the brawl coming out in the A bomb site, and it's going to come down to a 2v3, make that a 1v3 now as Shazam. He's picked up 2, he does get the bomb plant, and he's got to ace it to win it.
Trying to get himself outside of this plant position, but he's boxed in right now, looking for a player by A main, but not able to find it initially. Nothing with good timing, though, is able to peek out just as he looks away and finishes him off. So we'll see the guys on Cloud9 picking up the first gun round. A good play from Stewie, too, to hold off that initial bit of aggression on the A bomb side. He almost single-handedly stopped a plant from happening, but he ended up going down after finding a 2-for-1 trade, dispatched by Shazam himself. But, of course, with it being a 3 versus 1 there, was very easily handleable by the remaining members of C9. So they shut that down, and they do pick up the first gun round, which is great, and now they get a double op set up here as well. Stewie's going to be picking that up for now. He tends to usually be the guy that picks up the second op here on this map, so we'll see him wielding that, I believe, closer towards the A-bomb site.
Yeah, and that's not a bad spot for him to have that. Have the one op there going towards B. Skadoodle's going to be over in this area, and oh, he's going to get there in the nick of time. They decide to push on forward here. 4 players from OpTic outside of the B bomb site, so they're going to throw out the smoke, throw out a flashbang as well. He's going to throw out his own smoke and readapt to the situation. There's a big gap in the middle of those 2 smokes, so he might be able to find a frag here as they work their way back around towards the B bomb site. And you can see all 5 players from OpTic. There's nobody gathering any information, and Stewie, he's just got a line of sight all the way down A main right now, so he's not going to even be worried about anything.
So as the peek comes out now from the guys on OpTic, Skadoodle's going to spot all of this, but it's way out in the open, so he's an easy target to take down. Shroud and Stanislaw do trade a couple blows back up, so it's still even. Down to a 3 versus 3, but they catch nothing in the vents. He's not able to fire any shots off there as Rush was sitting down for blow, and I think it caught him off guard a little bit. Freak was up with a good entry, but again, he's traded off. This is not what C9 need. Now it's all coming down to Stewie. And he's just had a flash to the face, and I believe Stanislaw saw him trying to creep out the doorway there in heaven, so they know exactly where he is. He's going to try to re-peek it now, but as he does it, Stanislaw's lined up perfectly to shut him down, and OpTic do trade back the round, bring things up to 4-1. And this should bring C9's economy into an awkward position where they're more than likely just going to be forced to save.
Yeah, and you know, we beat a dead horse when we talk about the economy so much on the stream, but you can see it full force right now. I mean, if you can't build up that CT money, then you get into that buy, lose, save scenario throughout the half, because even if you try to force up with the money bonus, you can only usually get a decent nade kit and FAMAS's, which is not a good omen for a player like Skadoodle who relies on the AWP so much.
So now OpTic again going back to the passive setup, as we've already seen plenty of times here now when C9 were sitting on their ecos before. Not really going to be seeing them move out to try and take map control very early on in the round, as obviously it's not too big of a task to try and do it when your opponents are going to be sitting on an eco. Just waiting to see if C9 are going to try to throw anything at them, and then we'll move into the bomb site as the usual course would follow. But C9 actually have not tried to do anything this round. They're still playing to a pretty default setup that they would play on a rifle round. Keeping, I believe it's Freakazoid this time playing inside of Z. You've got the Shroud and Nothing combo on the B-bomb site. Skadoodle, I believe, has relocated himself over towards A. He's still going to be playing with Stewie here, but now they've already actually preemptively started to rotate players off the B-bomb site. They're getting ready for an A hit, and this is good because it's exactly where OpTic is starting to shift their players towards, now that the timer's getting lower.
Yeah, they know Nap is over here by Squeaky. They just threw the mollies out into the back of the site, so they're going to cordon that area off. It's going to be really tough here. Nice dink through the smoke. Nap flies down to 23, but they're going to bombard this bomb site. Stewie goes down. So does Skadoodle. Now Shroud and Nothing both go down as well, and Freakazoid to follow afterwards, and it's a clean sweep in that A bomb site. Even with that stack, they don't even get a single kill out of the round, so very clean, methodical CS from the OpTic camp, and they're doing a really good job in opening up these bomb sites and locking them down. So we're going to see another gun round come out from Cloud9 and see if they can do anything. But again, like we talked about before, I mean, 2 FAMAS's on the board because they just don't have the money to work with.
C9 is also working with a very uneven money spread too. When you were looking at their players in the eco round, you could kind of see it. So you take a look at Skadoodle, he's going to find a nice first shot on the Nap, but he does not have armor sitting behind this op buy, of course, so he'll be working with the glass cannon op, and that might be a little bit hard to prevail with.
Oh, man.
Despite losing Nap, Stanislaw just went off there and picked up both Freakazoid and Nothing. I believe they got aggressive there in the back of the B. Yep, they got aggressive there trying to push out of the B bomb site, so they're going to pay the price for that one. A good nade rolls out there, and look at the damage it's done to Stanislaw. This molly almost connecting onto him, but as Stanislaw tries to jump up on the boxes there, he's shut down Rush. He's been flashed, and Stewie, moving back into the bomb site to assist, is able to connect the headshot on the Rush. So the round's turned back onto its head 2 times in a row, and now C9 have control of things, as OpTic are going to be extremely timid to push themselves in to try and get this bomb on the floor.
Yeah, that was actually really disorganized from Cloud9 on that B push. Nothing was so far behind Freak, he couldn't trade the kill, and by the time that he got up there, I mean, Stanislaw was just holding mouse 1, and he walked right into the bullet. So, nice recovery from them. You can see OpTic playing a little bit of a reset, just waiting to see if they can rotate anybody back off of this B-bomb site. And they've actually done that. They've pulled Skadoodle away from this area. He's playing the naked op right now, and it's going to be Shazam to try to open things up. He's coming around the corner looking for Shroud, who's behind default. And Shroud's not giving an inch right now, but they're just going to walk the whole way up. And Stewie, he's outside of B main. He's got a quick rotate if he wants to come around to Heaven or if he wants to come back to B main. And he's actually going to do it. There's the Molotov to flush Shroud out. There you go. Shazam's going to be able to even things up. Spray through the smoke. Daps wins the battle. And now it's on to Skadoodle, who doesn't have armor against an AK and an op. So this is going to be real tricky.
Skadoodle trying to find a way, and he's going to throw the nade, and it connects perfectly on the Daps to finish him off. Unfortunately, again, he remains in the open for far too long. Same problem as 2 rounds back. And Shazam's just going to be able to take him down before he can do anything about it. So OpTic find a 6th round being picked up. C9 forced to cycle themselves onto another eco. And unfortunately, they're in that volatile process that I was talking about before, where if we don't see them performing that well in these gun rounds, then the ecos are probably not going to be that prominent either. So OpTic off to a good lead and probably going to be able to secure a 7th round here as well, as C9 are not investing very heavily at all on these ecos. Again, it's just P250s and a couple bits of spreads of utility on a couple random players. That you got the 2 flashbangs on Nothing, but that's it.
Yeah, and they want to go for this B push again. Shazam's going to have none of that. He's going to shut down the first one. He knows that Nothing crossed. Doesn't know specifically it's nothing, but he knows that another one at least crossed over there into Toxic. They're going to come on up. They know that it's an eco round. And there it is. The double spray down from Daps with the MAC-10. Cha-ching! Got to put the money in the bank. And they've still got 2 players, or at least 1 player, sitting outside of the B bomb site, just waiting for this extra aggression to come out. And there you go. Stan's going to be able to find one of them. Stewie2K is going to be over here by connector, trying to make something happen, but there's so many terrorists around here. None of them are actually looking in the right direction. So he's going to come out and actually does manage to finally hit the shot onto Naf. A little bit sloppy there at the beginning, but manages to take him down. Gets the dink onto Stan, but can't finish him off. And Stanislaw is 15-2 right now. Big performance from him.
Yep. And C9, of course, get themselves onto another gun round. This time, actually, unless they buy up the rifle on someone else, we might have to see another glass cannon op buy on Skadoodle. Yeah, he's gonna. Actually, no, he was just able to get enough.
Just enough, yeah. Luckily.
That's all he's gonna buy though, is the op and the armor. So unfortunately, not really gonna have a whole lot of utility to utilize this time, but can maybe take a couple extra blows, and we'll see Shazam picking up the first shot in this round as he takes down Freakazoid. I think that was through the smoke there in middle, or it was just before it ended up pluming. Takes out one of the members of C9, and now they have no mid-control to exercise. So they'll be rotating nothing away from it to try and keep a little bit of a closer eye on Z in the general area of middle.
Yeah, but look at Skadoodle's position right now. He's pushed in Squeaky. The flashbang just came out, but there wasn't a peek with it. He was actually fully blinded, so if Naf would have decided to go ahead and push up along with that flash, he probably would have been able to catch him out because Stewie was standing in the doorway and actually blocked him, body blocked him into the door. So maybe a little bit of a miscue. Rush, well, Skadoodle's too privy to that. He's going to find that opening pick and even things back onto a 4v4. But again, it's kind of the same kind of deal where OpTic, they get that opening aggression and get that opening pick, and then they just kind of slow things down.
So now C9 just keeping their players spread out. They've been able to respond to this a little bit, but nothing is going to take a big hit from Shazam. Dropped on a 24 HP and has attempted re-peek back out there through Z in middle. I think, though, this is going to give him what he needs to start moving back towards the B-bomb site, but you still have the 2 full players from C9 fully committed to the A-bomb site. They spot the push coming, a 1-for-1 trade initially. Shroud's still alive, but take a look at his position. He's in the mini pit right now, so he's an easy target for Shazam to take down. Moving out, shuts him out with the up. The final 2 have just started to rotate from the A-bomb site now, so they have no positioning. They have no room to work with here. And in all honesty, they might not even try for this retake. It might be a bit of a desperate attempt. Skadoodle's looking for a shot now, seeing if he can find anybody on the platform through that smoke, but another one's tossed in, and now he can't see anything, so they've got to fall back and save.
And this is the right call for Cloud9. They need to hold on to these rifles. They need to start getting rounds on the board. They can't keep throwing away all this utility and everything. I mean, still a flash on Stewie. He does have a kit as well, so that's a little bit that they don't have to rebuy into the next round. And you know, you see this time and time again where on the CT side, when you know that you're going into a gun round, a lot of people pick up the head armor and all of that, but an AK is a one shot to the face anyway, regardless of your armor situation. So a couple of times they might have been able to save a little bit of money, get a little bit more of an economical advantage by not buying the head armor, as 4 out of the 5 players last round didn't get the head armor. But again, they saved the 2 guns. They're going to be able to reinvest into this round. You can see Shroud's going to be on a CZ. They do drop a rifle over to Freakazoid. Nothing is going to be on an M4. And they're going to expend all of their economy. But this is more, I think this is even more solid of a buy than what they had going into the last round as far as utility is concerned.
It's weird that you would give Shroud the CZ, though, considering he's one of the more consistent players. I guess when you look at the splits they're working with right now, it makes a little bit more sense since Skadoodle already has the ops. You don't want to, completely negate all the power to one of these bomb sites, but still, Shroud's been one of the more consistent fraggers, so putting him on a ZZ may not prove to be the best option. However, already proving he can still do work with that. He pushes out, finds Stanislaw, and does make up for the earlier loss of Freakazoid as he was taken down just a few seconds before.
Yeah, and that was actually the rifle that Stewie dropped out in the beginning of the round. Now nothing. He's perched up here on top of the scaffolding inside of that A-bomb site. He's going to get spotted. Daps takes a couple of shots, not able to line it up, but they've yielded the bomb site control. And now Stewie working around behind these smokes. Gets himself into a good position. He can only get one, though. That flashbang from his teammate, I believe it was, actually a little bit off the mark. And blinds him just enough for that second frag or that refrag to come in from the OpTic side. And now it's going to be this difficult retake. Skadoodle, he was ready for that boost up. Shazam goes down. And now they know that there's another player over there. Nothing's going to find a headshot onto Rush. And it's all down to Daps in a 1v3. He's picked up the up, but he is getting spammed up, man. He is low on 5 HP. And he can't hit the shot. Skadoodle's ready. And that's a big double on the round for Ska. And a second round on the board for Cloud9.
OpTic trying to play a little bit more aggressively that time in the post plan after they had gotten those smokes on the floor, but that's not going to pay off at all. Cloud9 get the read on the situation very nicely and are able to dispatch the members of OpTic. So they are going to be able to shut down a round finally. However, they do have to work through quite a bit of money on some of the players from OpTic. Most notably, Shazam was sitting on 16k when that round had just started. So at least for this one, we are going to see another investment, and I believe they can buy up one more time after this, should the need arise, if we see OpTic stringing two together finally. But it's going to be 8-2, and OpTic still have a very secure hold on this half.
Yeah, not to mention they've gotten a bomb plant in almost every single round, if not every single round. That's kind of one of the things to note. I mean, they've won by elimination a number of times, but here you go. Oh, God, you've got to be kidding me. Nothing is going right for Cloud9. Scott had him dead for rights, and Shroud just walks in front of him.
So,
oy vey.
So the guys on C9 are going to take quite a bit of damage, and actually this is great too, because take a look at like all the smokes and whatnot they're starting to toss in here. They're going to try to see what's going on in the middle, but Shroud, again, that same position that he got to kill with the CZ, and in the last round, takes down Dap. Shazam does find a trade for it, though, so it's a nod a little bit. Back down to a 4 versus 4. Now they're going for the hit on the A-bomb site, but Cloud9 are getting much better at reading these situations now. They've already started to rotate in. Freakazoid gets the spray transfer. Nothing did steal one of the kills, but he picks up one more. However, again, it's been traded out. OpTic also found 2. We're down to a 2 versus 2. Shazam jumping up on top of Forklift. Skadoodle misses his shot, and the connection moves in, but then Stanislaw burns alive. Shroud that Amali's going to jump through it, and he's down to 18 HP, just going to go for the defuse. Shazam has no clue right now that he's actually defused it, but then Shazam wraps, saw the smoke coming out, kills Shroud anyway. There had to have been less than 1 second left on that timer. Shazam just barely escapes with that round victory for OpTic, but he does it, and C9 are going to be reset again.
That was a huge quad from Shazam on the round as well. I mean, it's crazy to see that, because he jumped up on the forklift, and Skadoodle was ready. He was right on the other side of forklift, waiting for that push to come around, and just the timing of that jump, it just played into his favor so well. So OpTic Gaming, they reset Cloud9 again. They're going to be able to get a very healthy buy into the next round after this one's all said and done. That squeaky door open, they're going to be savvy to that push coming around the corner. Nothing gets blinded. He's going to be forced to resign from that position for a little while longer. And now you can actually see they're going to throw the Molotov out. No, they get stuck in the door. Just some mistakes being made here across the board from these guys.
Stewie, though, able to jig a little bit there and take down a rush. However, he goes a little bit too far, and Shazam finds him out in the open before he can retreat back inside of A main. Shroud's going to be the last one alive on the B-bomb side. He's dispatched pretty quickly by Stanislaw, and OpTic will now find a 10th round, as C9 actually might have to do... no, they should be good to buy here. I was looking at Nothing and Shroud, who are still a little bit low, but they should be able to just downgrade those guys to FAMASs, and they'll be well off.
But I mean, 10 rounds now on the T side. Cloud9, they've floundered in every single gun round so far, with the exception of 2. So, I mean, it's crazy to see this kind of a scoreline right now, especially for a map that we've kind of considered to be Cloud9's home. Skadoodle, though, going to open up, takes down Shazam. That Molotov is going to roast a little bit over here, and Rush gets the double. Stan's going to be able to find the third, and they've cleared out mid. They've got Skadoodle over at B, rotating back towards the Z hallway. And, I mean, it was looking good for Cloud9 at the beginning, but... RIP!
So now they're pushing onto the side, but they didn't notice, though, that Stewie's sitting on upper right now. Thankfully for the guys on OpTic. He's only going to be able to pick up 1 kill, but then Skadoodle finding another frag pickup. However, oh, he's almost caught 2 as he gets behind the shed on highway. Nap sitting at 3 HP, but it's not going to matter. Now, Skadoodle seems to be wanting to take this duel with the op. Again, Skadoodle getting tagged down to 32 HP, but the raw peak from Skadoodle nets in the kill into Naf. And Cloud9 do find a 3rd round pickup. However, now they need to string together these final 2, as otherwise OpTic will still have way too large of a lead to work with. And C9, again, you have to remember that their T side is often where a lot of those weaknesses come in, because they're still working basically from ground zero strategically here. Nothing has been having a really hard time making sure this team is used to its best potential on the T side.
Yeah, and that's really kind of the big talking point about this right now, is we talk about how strong the C9 CT sides have been over the past few events that they've participated in. And now Stewie, he's going to try to flash himself through a smoke, and then he's going to just turn around and take a duel with Naf, and he's not in a good position for that. So, a 2-for-1 trade favoring OpTic again going into the 14th round, and these are rounds that Cloud9 desperately need to pick up. Absolutely need to pick up. And right now, I mean, it looks like it could be an 11 or 12 round half for OpTic. I mean, that's just the way that this matchup has gone so far.
OpTic, due to this slow play style, Cloud9 are not really going to be able to get a very good read as to where the members of OpTic are going to be making their push towards, so they've just gone for the default split. Nothing's fully committed to A, backed by Quad. Skadoodle's hanging up by Truck. He's at a pretty quick rotate position, so he can place himself in Heaven if need be on the B-bomb site, and they're going to be relying on Shroud to hold things off here on the B-bomb site, with only a CZ, I should mention, too. That's where they've got the weakest gun sitting at, and he's alone. He's going to have to hold off for about 5 seconds if the need arises for them to have the rotate come over from Skadoodle. Thankfully, though, it looks like OpTic are going to be going through towards mid initially, and with the player's position inside of A main, it would lead itself to believe this is going to be a highway A main split. Pretty default take on the A bomb site.
Yeah, and that's really the kind of deal that's going on right now. I mean, they're splitting towards A, 2 coming up highway, 2 coming up out A main. Skadoodle is over here by by Truck. He's going to be looking for this push to come in. He might have heard that, but that flashbang is right on time. Nothing does pick up one. Skadoodle chimes in with one as well. Nothing repositioning around the front of that bomb site, and they're going to be able to take that duel against Daps. Skadoodle's not going to be able to hit that shot, but Shroud comes around, and Cloud9 pick up a 4th round. They need to get a 5th.
So good hold there on the A-bomb site. OpTic, unfortunately, were not able to find the players on C9 quickly enough, so they used that dual angle actually quite nicely. Kept the guys on OpTic pretty confused, and they got ripped apart player by player without really any trades happening there. So C9 are going to be able to find one more round being picked up, and of course now they get a full reinvestment as they head into the final round. Everybody's got rifles this time, and they actually have managed to break OpTic as well. Most of their guys are down to just Tech 9 or P250 forceps. They've only got 1 AK on the board on Stanislaw, and Shazam's still working with the op because he's been going down the least.
Skadoodle looking for Stan. Gonna spot him jumping up, not able to land the shot. And this is actually the first time, like you said, that we've seen OpTic in kind of a poor money situation throughout the entirety of this half. I mean, they've had rifles every single time. And this time around, they're going to be on a couple of pistols, but let's not count that out. We saw some magic happen last night with like a CZ buy in one of the matches. So this time around, it's going to be P250, a couple of Tech 9s, an AK, and an op to try to make it happen. And there's the op.
Nice
Shazam's going to open up, takes down nothing. Now the spam through the smoke in mid. Freakazoid, though. Vac, he's going to find one. That's Daps down and out. And he's still behind these smokes, waiting for them to push on through. He's got to bide his time. He's got one right around the corner. They're going to try to walk on through, and he's ready for it. Finds that second kill. Takes down Rush. Still throwing out a little bit of spam. He's going to find Napfly. Can't land the shots initially, but he finally does, and now it's down to Shazam. Stewie took down Stan, and it's a 1v1, and Stewie already rotating around to Z. He might be able to get the backstab in if the timing is right. And it might just be, no, Shazam gets around the corner, pulls out the up, doesn't hit the shot. And he's going to take the repeat, and he wins it. 11-4, half for OpTic.
Should be noted, too, I think that was actually the only round where, if memory serves me correctly, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that was the only round where OpTic had to downgrade to pistols after we had gotten past the first pistol round. I think they were on rifles for pretty much the entire half after that.
Yep, the only round that they didn't have the most optimized purchases behind it was actually the anti-ecos, where they had a MAC-10 and a UMP. Ever since then, it was all ops, unless they knew that the Cloud9 camp was saving, and then they would put a MAC-10 on Daps or somebody like that, and he actually picked up 2 kills in the round that he had the MAC-10. So really, really nice half from OpTic Gaming. Kudos to Shazam and Stanislaw stepping up big for their team right now. Stan at 21-8, 17-5 for Shazam. Naf is at 6 kills. Rush is at 13, and Daps is sitting at 7, but 11 rounds to your name. I'll frag 7 kills if I can have an 11-4 half going into the CT side of Cash. I'm okay with that.
Also, if OpTic win this pistol, I have a really bad feeling that C9 are just going to go into panic mode, and we'll try some really desperate stuff that we've seen in the past. Yeah. Really doesn't end up working out for them just because of how hastily it's called from nothing. And it just seems like the team isn't really secure on it most of the time. So I don't know if things have changed as of late, but they're going to start this take now by getting mid control.
Yeah, Nap is in a great spot. They don't check. Sandbags. He's going to find the first. Shazam comes back around from Z, and they get the second. Not a good start, but Shroud's going to be able to find one at the B-bomb site. Daps answers back. If he can pick up one more kill, that's going to be great, and he does! Last man standing is going to be Skadoodle in the mini pit. He does manage to find Shazam, does find Nap, but he can't account for Rush, and that will be a 12th round now on the board for OpTic.
That's like the 3rd time now where, unfortunately, Skadoodle, that time was much less so in his control, but that's like the 3rd time now where Skadoodle has died because he left himself out in the open too much. So he's got to watch out for that a little bit. That's becoming a bit of a consistent issue where he tries to reposition himself, but he does it at very bad times, and he just leaves himself out in the open, and he's an easy target to pick off. So
yeah, there
C9,
wasn't much he could really do there, though.
Yeah.
And that round.
Yeah, that round specifically, but there's been a couple more times where he's done it sort of voluntarily, and it's led to his death. So the timing just has not been in his favor this evening, it would seem. So OpTic win the pistol, and again, C9, they're so far behind at this point that they have to force up. We're going to see Shroud and Nothing saving up a little bit more, with just going for P250s, but Freak, Skadoodle, and Stewie all invest to Tech9 behind their armor buys.
Well, Skadoodle doesn't actually have armor. He wants to get that AWP. That is a great flash. Oh, poor Freakazoid. He's caught hand over face, spamming the smoke. Daps is going to take another, and nice little find. That bomb just kind of trickles on through that smoke. So really tough spot. Shazam gets another one. Daps with a third on the round. And the last man standing is going to be Shroud, stuck behind the smoke, getting just demolished by these SMGs. And it's going to be Shazam to finish it off. So 13 rounds now for OpTic, and they are just unrelenting on this cache.
So 13-4, C9 do have to take this one as a light round with just the Glocks more than likely. If they want to invest in a P250s, they can do that, but that's basically it. A couple little bits of utility here and there as Nothing invests himself into a flash, and we do see two P250s coming out into Shroud, Stewie, and Freak, along with Skadoodle. So they do upgrade it quite a bit, but OpTic most definitely is going to have the advantage here once again, unless C9 can have a really good strat about them and really surprise the members of OpTic with wherever they decide to go for this push. But it's starting itself off. 4 men pushing out towards middle. Zam having no trouble shutting this down, though. Has picked up 3 kills. He finally does get traded out by Skadoodle, but now they know exactly what's happening, and they can just box the remaining C9 players in.
Yeah, Scott trying to fight the aim punch actually does take down Nap, but the flank comes out from B, and Rush finishes off the last 2. Nothing and Scott down, 14-4 for OpTic, in a round that's over in a flash. I mean, Shazam with only a FAMAS, and he finds all of those kills, and now he's the leader of the scoreboard at 23-7. Stan actually hasn't gotten a kill yet in the second half. He's feeling lonely over at that A bomb site, but that's perfectly acceptable. No, not a big deal. And now you see the op come out. No op for Skadoodle. That's something to definitely note here on the terrorist side, as he's not going to be able to crack open those bomb sites with that AWP. And we'll see what they can do with the rifles into this. You can see they've kept the UMP, they've kept the MP9, but it's going to be Rush to open up on Nothing.
Stanisla's going to get flash initially, but he's quiet about it, so he is able to sneak inside the smoke that's currently placed in A main. Shroud with a 1-tap finishes off Nap. But look at Stan. Stan is still in this smoke. Still in the lion's den, essentially, and nobody's hit him or anything. Wait, I think they just noticed him. Nope, they still haven't seen him. Still sitting right behind him. There's Stan with the first pickup. Freakazoid just realized that he actually could have killed Freak, but now Freak, he still actually didn't pick up on it. He was able to re-peek it, and Freak wasn't looking towards it. Stewie just trade out one of these blows on a rush. But keep in mind, the 2 remaining Ts are separated right now. That could also work to their advantage, though, as Shroud is going to be repositioning himself, still here behind Quad, and Stewie on Highway. So it's like a checkers game right now. All 4 players aligned in a cross. And whoever steps out first is going to meet the crossfire here. Stanislaw playing to a very safe angle. It should also be noted that Stanislaw currently has bomb control, but he doesn't want to peek out. So Shazam's going to meet quite a bit of pressure. And he does have to be careful, because I don't think Stanislaw wants to give away his own position.
Yeah, all he needs to do is stay alive. They're going to start going for the plant. There you go. He finally gets dropped. Now it's going to be a 2v1. Shazam, he's going to push on forward. They might try to take this angle fight. They're playing both by default. He's going to swing, actually finds a little bit of damage. He gets an AK that's actually got 29 bullets in it, so he's going to drop out the molly.
Oh, no, it's not.
And unfortunately, they're both huddled up in the site. Nobody's playing over by Quad, and Stewie's going to be able to drop him. So at least Cloud9 live to fight another day.
If that molly had been like a pixel or 2 to the left, I think it would have bounced in the right way and probably would have hit both of them there on the plant spot to force them out of cover, and that is where we probably could have seen Shazam winning that duel. But thankfully for OpTic, they still have a very large 9-round cushion to work with, 14-5 obviously, and they are going to be able to reinvest into one more buy round before they're forced to save, so they do have another chance to stop C9 before they can start to build themselves up here on the T side.
Yeah, but this is the dangerous part right now. OpTic's got another option to go for a buy here. They don't have the op on Shazam, but he's feeling it right now. It doesn't matter what gun you put in his hands. He's probably going to find a kill or 2 with it. And we'll see if he can do that. They did swing the op back over to Skadoodle. And this is where things start to really get interesting now. They're going to push out of mid. Stewie behind the smoke, trying to work around this. Shazam, he's going to line him up and takes him down. He knows that Stewie likes to push the smokes. He's going to catch him. So the man advantage to OpTic to start the round again.
And now C9 are going to freeze up here a little bit, trying to figure out what they can do, but they're actually moving pretty quickly into a plan B situation, which doesn't really seem to be deviating too much from the initial plan. They've got a lot of mid control. OpTic really have not done a whole lot to stop this. They're focusing mainly on their A site defense, and also very heavy commitment to the B site still as well. So if the initial players on A aren't able to hold it, these guys need to rotate very, very quickly. Otherwise, it's going to be too strong of a hold to enable a retake. So C9 moving inside of A main. They've got Freakazoid in that position over there by the highway, and he's ready to push up. But now it falls to Stanislaw and Naf to try and hold things off on the site itself.
And they're in pretty good positions here. Stan's going to close the door, so they know that there's going to be a player over here by MBK. And they're actually going to rotate a player out of B, I believe. Daps, yeah, he's going to finally hightail it out, but it's going to be a little bit late. Shazam goes down. There's still 2 players over here in this bomb site. Freakazoid comes around for the backstab. Naps can only get 1. And we're down to a 2v3. Skadoodle posted up by Forklift. He's waiting for the smoke push on truck side. Daps is going to be over there. Team Flash comes out, but it's going to be okay. That's going to fade before the CTs try to push on in here. But again, maybe just decide to go ahead and save this one on the CT side. Some time has ticked off of that, and Skadoodle is going to get a shot for free, so now Rush should probably fall back and hang on to the M4, and that's exactly what he's going to do. So 14-6 now, Cloud9. Couple of rounds. Still a long way to go.
Rush should be able to save this rifle. C9 are still working with a very low amount of cash flow, so it would not be too wise, especially when you consider Freak's down at 12 HP, for these guys to move out and actively hunt down this last player. So they will allow him to get away. However, it's not too big of a deal, as unfortunately most of OpTic is sitting in a position where they're not really able to go for a pretty confident force buy, so you're really only going to be looking at that single rifle. And very rarely do we see that single rifle having like an amazing amount of impact. It probably will lead to a trade or two. However, for the most part, C9 on the T side now, they can sort of eat that up, as it's not going to be the biggest deal in the world to lose these guys.
I'd like to see a push on the B bomb site this round, but it looks like Rush is going to take that M4 towards mid to start things off. So see what they decide to do. He might pop flash him in towards A main, but they're stacking this A bomb site at least to start things off. So yeah, OpTic, they're going to stack A. They got the M4 over here as well, try to soften them up for those pistols to take over and do some work. And very passive setup here from Cloud9. They've got to realize that 2 rounds in a row after losing the pistol, this should be a save round here for OpTic, so they might figure that out here soon. Daps is all by himself over this B bomb site. This is going to be really difficult for him, but he's going to hide behind this smoke, at least for a little while. And that bomb over outside of A main right now, so very slow play from Cloud9.
Daps can hear them moving towards the site. Now the question is he going to call the... Is he like going to sound the alert, essentially, here for his teammates to rotate in? It doesn't look like it. Most of the guys on OpTic
reverse boost? Yeah.
Where are they? Oh, I see what they're doing now. Trying to get themselves back towards middle. So they're still not moving onto the site, though. And with Daps playing the corner just inside of it, he's going to be able to see that this is exactly what it appears to be, which is just them trying to fake it, or just them trying to make some noise. He can even move out to try and get some intel now, too. So right now, the 4 stack towards A is a confident one, but they're going to start to shift their positions, and that's a big mistake, as it is going to catch at least Naf, and now they might be aware as to what may be going on here. They're pushing in. Stewie finds a second pickup. The rifle comes into play now, and Rush picks up 1 kill, does a 180 spin, and finds another one, and finds a third on a Shroud as he shuts him down. I have to correct my mistake. The rifle's going to have a huge impact on this round, as now the guys on OpTic have an advantage. The other 2, though, still working with just pistols, and now nothing finally comes in from Highway, shuts out Rush, and it wasn't properly communicated. So Shazam's going to be caught off guard. There's 5 seconds left. But the bomb is being planted in a safe position. So now it all falls to Daps in a 1v2, and he's already given away that he's coming in from A main.
Yeah, they already knew. He tried to get the shots off on Skadoodle. He dropped him to 35, but Sky's positioned very well on this. He knows that he's up there. Actually misses the shot, so that's going to give him at least an opportunity to push in towards the bomb site, but he's so low. And finally, nothing's going to be able to finish him off, but 3 huge kills from Rush in that round almost tilted it.
And of course, the big damage coming in there too is going to keep the money low for C9. A very important factor here is if they are able to immediately break C9, which is 1 OpTic gun round victory, then they'll virtually be winning just winning the map off of that factor. C9 have not been very potent in their eco rounds here, trading out on a couple occasions, but I don't think we've seen them win any of them as of yet, or stealing them away necessarily. So we do see OpTic getting another investment. Unfortunately, Shazam's still not able to afford the op buy-up, so he's just going to be sticking with an M4 and a little bit of utility. It's the same story for most of this team, and they actually really aren't able to bring all that much utility. Just going to be mainly smoke setups these guys are able to really do. So if it ends up being a longer plan from C9 as they go for a later execute, then OpTic won't really have all that much to stop it.
Yeah, so now we don't see an op on Shazam again this time around, and they didn't have an op on him the last full gun round either. They had the option to pick it up. I saw one of the players was up over 5,300, or maybe it was 5,800. I think it was Rush, after picking up 3 kills in that last round, and also having that rifle that he had saved prior. He didn't have to have any investment in the last round. So this time around, though, Cloud9, they're going to sneak Freakazoid out mid. They've got to be careful, but they've pushed up Stanislaw into A main, and this could be the X factor in the round if they decide to come over towards this area, because there's no smoke in that A main area, so they're probably not going to expect somebody to be pushed up here. Plus, with that flashbang, oh no, he's going to give it away. He throws the flash out. That might catch one, and he gets the spray, gets two. Nothing's finally going to be able to shut him down, but the damage is done. The repeat comes into Naf, though. I'm not really sure why he decided to go for that.
That was a mistake, because now Rush is alone on this bomb site. Stewie's going to push in. Rush is able to handle him. Stewie did not have a good amount of intel, and Freakazoid's almost caught as well. In fact, the Repeaky is caught, and then Shazam shuts it down by finishing off nothing. So that play there from Naf might have ended up costing them a little bit, but thankfully the good play from Rush on the site was able to recover it quite nicely. And now OpTic win it, and unfortunately C9 is going to be working with an uneven buy here. Just Tech 9 and armor upgrades for a lot of these players. Looking at Freakazoid, Shroud, and Stewie all have to go for that. Skadoodle is able to afford it out, but beyond that, only nothing is going to get an AK in his hands.
And again, that last round, Stewie got caught pushing through a smoke. I mean, that's one of the things, you know, it might work in pugs, but when you're playing against another top-tier North American team, probably not going to have as good of a time.
That nade absolutely destroyed Skadoodle and nothing. Keep in mind, Skadoodle's a glass cannon op setup again, so good jump attempt to try and kill the player that's over there in quad corner, but doesn't work out. Freakazoid moving in, picks up a good kill. Stewie did find one on the Stanislaw as well, so C9 has the man advantage, bringing it up to a 3v2, but OpTic very quickly moving in to try and formulate this retake, but they've been smoked off, so they are going to be attempting this with a very, very low amount of time on the clock, unless they decide to push through it, and oh, Daps dodging death there as the op shot from Skadoodle. He jumps over it and only gets legged by it.
Rush did find himself out in front of that smoke, but unfortunately he's going to pay the price. Stewie comes around and picks him off from quad, and this is going to be a save from Daps. So the money gets reset here on the CT side. They're going to have a rifle going into the next round because, again, Cloud9 doesn't have the financial backing right now in their game to be able to chase these too terribly much. They're vacating that bomb site, but it shouldn't be depressed for this gun. Daps is only on 17 HP, going to be a tough spot, but he is going to be able to get out of the round with the M4. And we saw Rush do work with it before. Maybe Daps can step up. He's only 12 and 12, but one of the things, you know, I commented before it about Shazam and Stanislaw being kind of the carry right now for him. Rush has caught up to him now. He's at 22 and 14, so he's been doing a lot of work here on the CT side.
Now, for OpTic, not going to want to take a risk on going for a full force up here. Still going to be taking it light because they have very large cushions still to work with. So some players just can upgrade pistols and whatnot, and they will try for the stack again towards the A-bomb site. It's a full 5-man stack this time. They're literally not putting anybody on B. Might prove to be an issue, of course, because look at the setup from C9. They're definitely leaning towards a B hit. And as soon as they see any aggression at all inside of A main or wherever, they're probably going to be confirmed that they can walk into that B-bomb site. And they'll be doing that, of course, in just a little bit.
Yeah, so again, very slow play from the C9 side. They had all of those players outside of B, but looks like they're starting to work their way back over towards mid and A. They've found their success at the A-bomb site. I don't think they've actually gone B once yet, but these two players that are pushing on Squeaky, Shroud's going to meet him here in a second. He's going to be able to find that first one. A little bit of damage onto him, but there's the repeak, and he's going to pay the price. He goes down, and now Nap's got a Deagle to work with, and we've seen him do work with it in the past. It's not a Deagle Blaze, though.
It's true. Means he's not going to do anything significant with it.
True. True. He actually gets knocked down to 21 HP, so.
No, he almost saw another kill, but as you mentioned, it's not a Blaze. So that pretty much kills any hype it'll have behind it. And the rest of OpTic are now just sort of stacking to the B-bomb site. They flipped themselves. Before it was the CT stacking on A, and the T's are getting ready to push B. Now it's been reversed, and OpTic thought they got the read, but no, they didn't. OpTic, or apologies, C9 were the ones that ended up getting the advantage here. They're just going to waltz onto the A-bomb site, get the plant for free. And Daps and Rush will be looking to sit back and save. Rush, more specifically, looking to see if he can find a kill, at which point he'd find a gun and then would save.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing right now. I mean, just looking at where the positioning is for the terrorist side, the gun that Shroud lost is outside of Squeaky. If they could push all the way around from T-spawn, but nothing is here in A main. They've also got Freakazoid right with him as well, even though Freak is low. But they want to guard this AK. They don't want to give up that rifle, so they're going to probably stick around outside of this A-bomb site and make sure that he doesn't get around and try to pick that up.
Rush might be able to pick off Freak. Finds him, and there we go. Gets the kill. He's not going to find a gun, though, as the round's going to reset too quickly, but he does do some damage by forcing him to drop that. However, with OpTic being on match point, doesn't really matter all that much, since Freak's at the point where he can afford full utility behind his buy anyway. If he was sitting on a little bit less, might have made an impact, but in the grand scheme of things, it's actually not going to mean all that much since he doesn't pick up the gun.
Yeah, but I mean, again, that's another rebuy that they have to go into, and Freakazoid, he already doesn't have very much money to work with, so he's down to 150, Shroud's on 200. The other three are okay as far as money is concerned, so if they lose a couple of guns, but there's the flashbang into A main. Skadoodle's going to pop a shot. Here comes a smoke grenade deep. We actually saw this, I don't know if you caught any of the EU matches earlier on, but G2 against Envious on Cash earlier. Shocks made this awesome play with Scream, where they smoked deep in A main like that. He actually hit in the smoke, and then they pop flashed over the top of Boost, and he pushed out with an MP9 and killed 2 people. It was one of the coolest plays that I've seen in a while. But, of course, they're not going to go ahead and do that this time around. So, again, they get into checkers, and they go for this reverse boost in towards mid. And I like this strategy because that gives them an extra angle to work with in that mid corridor to try to find that opening pick onto a player that might be playing over there by Sandbags or playing by Catbox. But nobody's actually playing mid for the OpTic side, so that information is all for naught.
C9 also just bailed on the B hit completely, and this could lean into a good thing for these guys if we don't see Stanisol impacting in a very big way, because now they've rotated a lot of their assets closer towards B. Specifically, Shazam has really committed himself to this bomb site, beyond just the usual 2 that we have sitting in here, and now it's going to fall to Naf and Stan, and Stan's just been taken down on that boosted up positions. Naf is going to jump back through the smoke to get the hell out of here, as he wants to be a part of the retake when the other teammates rotate in, but they're going to get full control of it, and they're actually backing. They might be going. Are they actually just going to save this? It looks like it. I guess they don't have confidence in it since the other 2 didn't get a chance to rotate.
Well, they don't have a lot of utility to go back into this site. No smokes for the bomb. They've only got a nade and 3 flashes. So, fall back, hang on to your rifles for the next round. I mean, they've still got 5 more rounds to play with before this really starts to... Well, at least 4 more rounds before it really gets close. But, not a bad save. But again, Naf getting through that smoke. How many times have we seen that in this matchup so far, where a player will book it through a smoke and actually get around behind them? So that was kind of a cool play there. We saw it with Stanislaw with the UMP early on in this half. See it with Nafly there. So it's happened a couple of times. And now Cloud9 are going to lose a couple of guns here at the end of the round. So a little troublesome.
And now C9 are starting to make a little bit of a case for this comeback. They still have quite a bit of work to do, of course. Still need to win 5 more in a row, but they're picking them up quite consistently now. And OpTic are still trying to strike back, and we still don't see the op buy coming on Shazam as of yet. Still, the money's a little bit tight. Actually, it looked like this round he absolutely could have afforded it, but still not going to be picking it up for whatever reason.
Yeah, not really sure. Maybe just not feeling it here on the CT side. He's kind of gone quiet in the last couple of rounds. He's sitting at 25 and 12, so... Oh, Shroud again. There's the second one-tap that we've seen him hit so far in this matchup. But Naf is going to be there for the reply, so it's a 1-for-1 trade. That's like 3 or 4 times that we've seen them go aggressive on A main like that.
But Shazam will find a trade on the Skadoodle there. Taken down directly after it by Stewie, of course. So down there with 3 versus 3. But C9 don't really have a whole lot of control to work with as of yet, so it doesn't necessarily favor them. They're going to try to group their remaining players up and move from middle. I imagine that they'd be taking this over there towards the B-bomb site, judging from the current setup these guys have. And it looks like that's the case now, moving a lot of their players towards the vents. So again, you're going to be looking to rush to defend here, as both Daps, along with Naf, are pretty far away here. I think Daps is able to call this early, though, so we can get prepped for it. But there's a molly under his feet. He's got to roll out. The flash is perfect, but it doesn't matter. Nothing is there to support his teammates, and it's going to take him down anyway. Daps is trying to do some damage there. He did spot Stewie in the corner just before he had gotten himself behind cover, but it's still not going to be enough. And a nade, this should connect pretty heavily onto Daps. It's going to bring him down to 48 HP. And again, OpTic, they're giving up on this. They're playing the economy game. They're going to fall back and save once more.
They should be able to formulate a little bit of a buy. Naf can drop one over. Shazam can force. Rush should be able to force. I mean, this is going to be 4 rounds in a row, but you can see, I mean, OpTic, they got so many bomb plants on their terrorist side. This time around, it's Cloud9 getting a lot of bomb plants. You can see 4 rounds were actually won by bomb explosions. So they're getting in, they're getting these bomb sites, and they're getting the job done. They're starting to chip away, and it's 15-11 now. So Cloud9, they're pretty close into bringing this one back. Couple rounds away from at least making this a shootout.
Keep in mind, of course, though, that OpTic are still just 1 round away from closing it out.
Yeah.
So it's not the fact that C9 need to win a lot of rounds to bring this back. It's that C9 need to win all the rounds to bring this back into their favor. And that's the key factor that oftentimes people forget. So OpTic only need to steal away just 1 more here. I know it's math, but Cloud9 don't have this secured just as of yet, as OpTic is still able to buy fairly consistently. They're doing a fantastic job of controlling the CT economy, which is where we see a lot of these teams fall flat and where a lot of these comebacks often tend to come from because the T's pick up so many free rounds. Right now, this is not the case. They have to fight for almost every single one of these because OpTic is saving so often, and they are able to keep guns in play.
Stanislaw, instead of falling out of the vents from that Molotov, pushes through it and gets himself on top of the mid roof. But the big part about that is he's so low, but he gets a kill anyway. Finds one, Naf trades, Stewie takes Stan down, but Naf is there to take him down. So it's a 2-for-1. Again, OpTic's got the man advantage.
It's a mystery on the situation, though. Thankfully, they're going to correct it pretty quickly by rotating towards the A-bomb site, but that could have been very, very bad if they'd stuck around the B and just hang out. Now, Freakazoid looking for an entry here on Highway, not going to find it. Rush shuts him down, and Shroud's stuck behind Big Red with his only remaining teammate now, which is Skadoodle. Shroud, though, because he hadn't given himself away, does get a free kill on Shazam after he takes the duel with Skadoodle, but he had done some good damage before being taken down. Skadoodle's down at 45 HP. It's a 3 versus 2, but the guys on OpTic do not have a lot of utility to make this retake work. They get some damage on the Shroud, bringing him down to 78 HP, but Skadoodle connects another shot. He takes down Daps. And now they're struggling to find a way back in. Shroud finishes off Rush. Naf finds a trade for it, and it's down to a 1 versus 1. Naf doesn't have a kit. There should be one on the ground, but he jumps in the air just as Skadoodle's peeking. And Skadoodle's going to be able to finish this off. The last man alive, bringing it up to 12 rounds for C9.
Now we're going to see a save coming out from the... oh, never mind. OpTic going to force up. So, very, very close matchup now. It's coming down to the wire. And we'll see if OpTic can get it done this time. I mean, that's... Let's see here. In the last couple of rounds, I mean, there was... 2v1, 2v1. There's a couple of times where they've had an opportunity to at least close out the match, and they've kind of floundered it here in the long run. So they've already got mid control on C9's side. And that's where they found the breach in the defense here of the OpTic Gaming squad, is that they continue to take over this mid control, and they've gotten a kill once or twice for free in that A bomb site because nobody was watching that. They got up highway. Like, I remember one round distinctly, Stanislaw was boosted up on top of the Shroud spot and got taken down from highway, no reply at all.
So Shroud putting himself inside of Squeaky once again to line up the push. They should be able to hear him inside of there. Not going to be able to catch him just as of yet. They're hanging back, and they're being very, very cautious of what might be coming outside of A main here in a moment. But the T's initially smoked themselves out. That Shroud smoked to get them outside of Squeaky. The CT do respond with one of their own heading its way over there towards A main, but it doesn't necessarily block the whole thing off. So the T's should still be able to push beyond this. But again, C9 very, very timid about this. And again, you also have OpTic still with a full 2-player commitment to the B bomb site. They've not started to rotate in yet, so these initial A site defenders have to perform very well. Naf with a good wrap. He's only going to find a one for one trade, though, and as they push back in, another trade happens. We still have Stanislaw alive, but he's just shut down by Shroud. It's a 2v3 retake situation again, but Stewie has a good position in Z. Not going to be utilized very well, unfortunately, with Rush taking him down. Just like that, it's down to a 2v2, and look how low Shroud is.
Yeah, but it's Shroud and Skadoodle again. Skadoodle's got this line of sight down on truck side for the second time around, and if Daps comes around the corner, pardon me, is that Daps? Yeah, that is Daps. If he comes around the corner, Shroud, oh, there you go. That's exactly what happens. That's what happens when you peek Skadoodle. You get your face ripped off.
And unfortunately, OpTic are not setting this up well enough to find trades, so Rush is alone again, and he's lost basically all his confidence to make this retake happen, because they're not playing that together. He just lost his teammate for free, essentially. And the guys on C9 are running away. Rush is not going to be able to contest this. He doesn't even have a kit. It's not even like he could try to sneak his way in here and defuse the bomb. So Cloud9's going to win another round. And now they're just 2 more away from taking it into OT and pulling off quite a miraculous comeback.
Getting closer. Ever so close. It's going to be another buy up here from the OpTic side. They're going to force into this one a little bit. It's going to be a quasi buy. They go for the armor pistol. Shazam not picking up anything. He does upgrade to a Deagle, but again, I mean, golden opportunity now for Cloud9 to get up to at least 14.
And this is, again, one of the very few times we've actually seen OpTic being completely broken, with the exception of Rush, who's scavenged together an AK. These guys have really been trying to save to make sure that they get buy from round to round. They will put the AK up on the A bomb site in the boost position. So Rush might be able to impact here, but the last time we saw someone playing up here, unfortunately, it was caught pretty quickly by C9. So if the same thing repeats itself, you're not going to expect too much impact this time around. They do have a counter boost set up if they try to go and sort of coagulate themselves outside of A main. Naf has been counter boosted there on the boost position. So if he's able to sneak in there, he might be able to find a couple hits. But C9 are back to playing this very passively. I think they finally realized that OpTic has also been broken here, so they're just going to go back to the slow style of play. But now that counter boost comes into play, Naf finds a first pickup on a Freakazoid. The smoke rolls its way out towards middle, but Naf's here to play this one as well, but he falls back, and Shroud takes him out with a nade.
They've still got Stan over here by Sandbags, and this could be a good position if Skadoodle isn't privy to it when he comes out from the boost box. And he's going to come on out, and there it is. Stanislaw is going to capitalize, finds the opening pick. That Molly's not going to reach him. And now they're going to abort this. They're going to fall back and go towards the B-bomb site. Stanislaw already rotating around from the back lines. He might be able to catch Stewie, and he does. Daps falls, but Stewie, he goes down to Stan, so now it's down to a 3v2. And then man advantage goes the way of OpTic, and Stanislaw found an AWP, so tough times for Cloud9 in this round. This could be it. It's going to be a very difficult retake.
Not going to connect any damage, unfortunately, as he threw it just a little bit early. And OpTic actually not, I wouldn't necessarily say they're 100% secure to win this round. They've thrown away much better situations previously, and even they're not confident in their positions after the bomb gets planted on the ground. Stanislaw is going to go for a reposition in through checkers so he can get himself in an off position just outside of there to try and have a better eye as to what's going on in the bomb site. But now they're ready to execute it, and they're going to move it. Stanislaw spotted first, but then Rush and Shazam close out both the remaining C9 players back-to-back, and that, unfortunately, is where C9 is going to fall flat, is that they gave away such a huge lead to OpTic earlier on that OpTic only needed just this one round to close it out, and they will succeed in doing so. 16-13 is going to be the final score of map number 1, and it'll be OpTic Gaming that takes it versus C9.
A little closer than I thought it was going to be, given the first half scoreline, but that shot that Shazam hit to close it out, that was filthy. Absolutely filthy. Just comes around the corner from B main and just whips and hits the snap 1D. That was absolutely nuts, but that's going to do it for map number 1. Cash is in the bag. OpTic 16-13 over Cloud9. We're going to move on to Cobblestone, a map that we've seen OpTic do some pretty sensational stuff on, and we'll bring you guys that in a few minutes, so stay tuned. We'll be back in a little bit.